The upholders of the law, the highest position one can achieve in the ranks of the imperial army, who answer only to the Emperor of Archades. I personally think that the Judge Magisters are some of the most imposing characters in Final Fantasy XII. While they are not superhumans with strong magical capabilities, their presentation during the games were amazing, so much so that I wasn't surprised that they were made the last level of Final Fantasy XII's trial mode. They are very prominent during the events of Final Fantasy XII, as we see all judges play very pivotal roles throughout their respective arcs. When we play Final Fantasy XII and we go through levels where Imperial serves as the enemy, we see different types of them, ranging from mere infantrymen, mages, mastiffs, and sometimes lowly judges, who are slightly stronger, but today we are talking about the Judge Magisters. In this video, we will be going through what a Judge Magister is, as well as the people holding in that position in the events of the game, and a bit of their lore. As always, if you enjoy the content on this channel, it would be great if you would consider subscribing, as well as liking the video if you enjoyed it, and of course comment below on what topics you would like me to cover next. Other than that, let's get started. Like with any other high position job in any industry, for one to reach such a high level in the ranks of the Imperials, one has to be very ambitious with what they want to achieve. And when we look at these judges throughout the events of Final Fantasy XII, their ambition is just that. Although each judge shows it in different ways, showing us their true characters. We will go through them one by one. Actually, I'm gonna pause it here for a second because I do want to say that I appreciate all the support you have shown to the channel up until this point and continuing to leave likes, comments, and subscribing to this channel. While at the moment any attempts I have made on expanding this brand has failed because of time constraints, with juggling school and a full-time job, I can only commit so much time on making videos. But if we can expand it enough, I will definitely invest more time, and it all starts here. So for this video, if we can reach 25 likes to start, that would be amazing, and continue making more quality videos on my end. So be sure you're hitting the like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribing to the channel, and hitting that post notification button so you know when the next video comes out. Now I will unpause. The first judges we actually come across in storyline, while technically it is Judge Geese, it is actually Judge Drace and Zargabaath. Now, I'm being a geek here when I reveal this because they were the commanders behind the attack on Nalbina Fortress. Like, look at me knowing this little Easter egg, guys. I'm not a geek, I'm just a lore guy. Now, it is true that Gabranth was also there since he was the one that actually killed King Raminas, and had Basch framed for the murder since he was the one that stabbed Rex at the start of the game while disguised as his twin brother, and part of Vayne's plan to subdue Dalmasca and force treason on its once mighty general. Anyway, I came across this event in the Final Fantasy XII manga that was created but got cancelled, so it's up to you if you want to consider it canon. But any extra material that adds to the story of Final Fantasy XII is good enough for me, so I will include it. There is a section in the manga where Basch and Rassler plan to counterattack this invasion by sending out Chocobo Knights to catch the Imperial soldiers off guard. When they launch their surprise attack, Basch and Rassler are caught in combat with Drace and Zargabaath, with the former pointing out his resemblance to another Judge Magister. Basch had no idea who she was referring to, but we come to find out later in the game that she was talking about Gabranth. That's the tiny little Easter egg that I wanted to share. Now we will get to in-game events, but I encourage you to check out the manga anyway. The first judge we come across the game is Judge Geese, who was involved in the hunt for the Dusk Shard in the first events of the game. He commanded the air fleet Shiva and had the party sent to him whenever they were caught during their early travels in the game. He had fascination with the power of deified Nethicite, and when Vossler betrayed the party, Ash was forced to give up the Dusk Shard from Wraithwall's tomb. Geese met his end when they attempted to test the power of this Nethicite, and when they found out they couldn't control it, the entire fleet was caught in a burst of energy from the shard, with no one surviving the blast. We actually see all the other judges in the cutscene, but we will only focus on Drace and Bergen, with Gabranth in a smaller capacity. Now, we don't actually confront Drace at any point during this game, but that is because we don't really get the chance to. When Vayne's father died, he had the council members framed for the murder and arrested, leaving the room for him to become the de facto leader of Archades. Drace sees through this farce and confronts him on it, stating that her loyalty is to the Empire and that all injustice must answer to the law. On the contrary, Bergen, who has succumbed to the power of malefacted Nethicite and the influence of Vena, rebuffs Drace's accusations, saying that since he drew her sword at the Emperor, she drew her sword at the law, making her the enemy, and then proceeds to throw her across the room with superhuman strength. As he is about to make the killing blow, Vayne makes Gabranth do so, to prove his loyalty to the Empire. Drace then assures him that it is okay, but makes him promise that no matter what happens, that he would protect Larsa, the task given to both of them by the late Emperor Gramis. Gabranth agrees as he deals the killing blow to the Judge Magister. We then fast forward to the events of Mount Baromeses, where Bergen launches an attack on the Sacred Mountain to bring Larsa back to Archades as per Vayne's order. But along the way, he murders the Grand Kiltias, still powered by the effects of the Nethicite and Vana, leading to a confrontation with the party and hearing the iconic line and motivation of the bad guys in the game, which is to rein the history back into the hands of man. While the party also adopts this motivation later in the game, they do not resort to the actions that Vayne does, still making them enemies. Bergen then fights the party and then dies, but he doesn't leave behind a body, instead bursting of energy once he dies. Now we are down to two, Gabranth and Zargabaath. Now it is time for Gabranth to step up. Under the orders of the Empire, he is sent to track Ashe and the party to determine if a war is what they want. He follows the party and eventually confronts them at the top of the Pharos Lighthouse, the home of the Suncrest, and attempts to drive Ashe to go to war with Archades, further pointing out that he was the one who killed King Reddas in the Battle of Nalbina Fortress. When Ashe refuses the power, he draws his sword and fights the party. When he's defeated, he is cast aside by Dr. Sid, stating that he no longer serves any purpose. We see Gabranth one more time at the Sky Fortress Bahamut, where he looks to defend Vayne, while getting revenge on his brother for their past. Once again, he is defeated, but this time, after being humiliated far too many times by Vayne, finally turns on him and attacks him when he realizes that Larsa is in danger, thus joining the party during their battle against Vayne. Due to the accumulation of his wounds during the battle in the Sky Fortress, he died. But before he does, he manages to tie the knot with his twin brother, and his task of protecting the new Emperor now falls onto Basch, ending his very tragic story. Zargabaath, on the other hand, is another character that the party never comes face to face with, except Basch in the Battle of Nalbina Fortress if we are counting the manga's canon, as we only first contact him in the aftermath of the battle. But we do see a redeeming quality from Archades as he offers to ram his airship to the Bahamut so that it doesn't fall into Rabanastre, knowing it will destroy the airship and everyone in it. However, before he gets a chance to do that, Balthier stops him and reactivates the Clawsair rings to save the city without losing any more lives. While it is not known what happened to the only surviving Judge Magister after the event of the game, it is likely he was pardoned for his wrongdoings during the battle by Emperor Larsa and either continued to serve as Judge Magister or left the ranks of the army and led a different life. And that about does it for the judges, right? Wrong. There's actually another known Judge Magister in the event of the game. Bet I got you thinking that I was gonna end it there, huh? If you did, you should leave a like on this video. Also helps with the channel and getting the video spread. Anyway, there was another judge. I am of course talking about Judge Zed, who many of us know as Reddas. Reddas in fact was known to be very faithful to Vayne, believing in his vision, even going as far as willing to test the power of the Midlight Shard on Nabudis. To his horror, the destruction it causes on the once thriving kingdom takes a massive hit on his conscience that he abandons the ranks of the Judge Magisters, choosing to hide out at the port of Balfonheim. We actually see Reddas in the Dracula laboratories, where he is attacking Dr. Sid in order to stop his plans, and with the help from the party, they are able to infiltrate the Pharos Lighthouse and reach the Suncrest, where after defeating Dr. Sid and Framfrit, the Suncrest goes out of control, and Reddas offers to destroy it while the party escape, knowing that this will claim his life. But as a way of forgiving himself for what he did as a former Judge Magister, proudly commits to destroying the Suncrest, dying in the process. And that's about it for the lore for Final Fantasy XII's Judge Magister, the highest ranking officials of the Imperial Army. Let me know what you guys thought about these characters. I personally think that they were such imposing figures in the game that every time I came across them, there was a bit of fear in my heart every time I saw them. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and comment on what you guys thought about these characters, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content. Other than that, this is Enzo signing out, and I will see you all in the next video.